Hello. Happy Friday. So weird. Sometimes I'm just so weird. How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? Hello, hello. I'm going to do this wave thing. Hi, 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 hi. Hi, hi. Thanks for joining and happy Friday. How is your Friday going? Just Friday. Just focus on Friday. How is today going? Hi. I hope well. Let's, as I always like to start, let's think about a win from your week. Let's think about a win from your week. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Good. I'm glad you're doing good, Britt. So, what's a win from your week? Share it with me in the comments below. We need to take time to celebrate these little things. So, let me think. I think we had an adoption, which was great, but let me think personally. Seems weird, but I went out 3 times this week. As a single mom who has to juggle and figure out all the things, my son's 11, so he's starting to stay home alone a little bit longer, which is a little scary. And so I went to a couple meetings this week without babysitters, which was a win to me. I mean, a win, and yet I'm so sad because that means he's getting older. And I actually went and was invited to a girls' night out at a friend's house. So that I got a babysitter for, although I was still home pretty early because that's just the way I roll. But that's my little win, is a little bit more independence as a single mama. What about you? I'm not seeing any come through. Tell me, okay, I got to win. My Gina, you are an amazing ass kisser. And I love you for it. I mean, it just makes me smile. I am Gina's consultant. Actually, you're in the academy, so technically you don't have a consultant, but she makes it her business. My adoption consultant always makes the hard days less hard. I don't know. So one of the things I wanted to mention, and somebody else put a win too. I think it's important to find that one thing, like, do your flowers smell really good in your yard? Did a flower bloom in your yard? Another win. Oh, this is a huge win right outside my back door. I finally have some landscapers cleaning up everything and making my yard look pretty, even though I thought I could do it by myself. And frankly, I could. It would just take me about 8 years. So I'm excited about that. So somebody else give me a win, because we need to focus on those things. And I know there's other people sitting and watching. So just take the effort and write it down, declare it. Okay. On the one hand, I'm super excited because the other day somebody asked me, how many adoptions have you done? And I went and counted, and it looked like we had done, or we don't do adoptions, but about 61 of our families have adopted this year. That is a huge number, the largest it's ever been. Let me take a break to acknowledge a win. Baby Be Brave said, my win. Tonight I am celebrating my belated birthday and the start of my BBB business, Baby Be Brave business. My whole family is coming to this restaurant near me. That's huge, Michelle. I love it. And I love that they're there and supporting. It's true. Also, if you're going to kiss ass, make it a cute one or a big one, or both. So keep sharing wins. So 61 families adopted. Huge number, biggest it's ever been. And then they asked me, how many fall throughs? Way too huge of a number, biggest it's ever been. I can't remember the exact number, but it was about 35%. Last year, I think it was 25%. And then prior to that, it was always about 15 to 18%. So since COVID, the amount of scammers has gone way up. And just some funky stuff happening with adoption situations, with agencies. It's just been really weird. And we're not seeing any, we always look to see what are the trends around that? What does that mean? Are we seeing that longer matches are falling through more, shorter matches are falling through more? And there's really not. And I talk to agencies all the time about what we're seeing so that in hoping everybody can get better. So anyways, that's our fall throughs and our adoptions this year, and we're not yet done. So hopefully the fall through number will go down, or the percentage will go down, and we will continue to have adoptions. We have about 21 or 22 families matched right now. And on the bad side, I know not all of them will go through. On the good side, that's a lot of fucking matches. Excuse my French. Which is amazing. I have no more room on my board. Now, I also want to say that I know a lot of you have been waiting a long time. And so it really hurts to hear those numbers. Why not you? Right? And I'm so positive. I'm so hopeful. I guess I can't be positive, but I'm so hopeful that it will happen for you if you stick it out and keep doing things to keep the energy up, and positive, and your time will come when it's right, when everything is aligned. And I know I don't know, there's nothing easy to say or to help with. I know there's sometimes we can tweak things or add things or redo things, but I'm hoping to encourage you to stay the course. And suffice it to say, there are no easy routes. There are some more strategic routes than others. There are things that will make your journey easier for you. And you still have to do a lot of work, right? Nobody's going to be handed a gold platter to say, oh, we will do everything for you, and then we will hand you your baby. That is not how this works, nor should it. You need to be involved in every process. You need to develop the relationships. You need to put in the work to present yourself in the best possible light you can. And we are here to be your cheerleaders through that, and to support you and tell you where you're veering off and where you could be better and where you could shine a little bit brighter, but always being your biggest cheerleader and where you're doing great. Andre Rodriguez, .67 said, I was able to attend my daughter's birthday on Wednesday. That was the first time since 2019. I'm a doctor and my work has been a huge hindrance. That is a beautiful thing to celebrate. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. So keep sharing wins below. If you're just joining us, and wherever you're watching us, please share your wins. Or you can share a win for me too. Okay, so that's one thing I wanted to say. Now I want to talk a little bit about risk amount and also relationships with expectant mamas during a match. Let me take a sip first and continue to see someone else's win for the week. What is it? One of the reasons I ask for your wins, one, is to get those positive vibes out into the universe, because I am a very true believer that what you put out into the universe is what you get back. So if you're negative and you're complaining and you're controlling and you're entitled and you're all the negative things, that's what's going to come back to you. If you're positive and hopeful and supportive and grateful and encouraging and generous, that's what's going to come back to you. So keep putting those positive vibes out into the universe. Okay, at risk amount. So, and how to process that. So when you are presented an adoption situation, you are probably also going to see what all the fees and expenses are around that situation. Or if you're at an agency, every agency does things a little bit differently. But what I see the most, and then I'll talk to you about a different scenario, is that when you're presented a situation, you're typically also shown what the financials are for that situation, what the expenses are, what the agency fee is, when things are due, all of that. More agencies are getting better at saying what part of those fees are at risk, meaning should a situation fall through, what are you at risk of losing? How much? And what's going to happen with that money? If there is a fall through, are you going to get anything rolled over? Are you going to get anything refunded to you? Rolled over meaning for another situation. It is really important for you to know financially what you're at risk for if something doesn't go through. I just shared with you high numbers of a fall through rates. I'm hoping that starts going down again. We always want to be below industry standard. And so you want to know financially what's at risk for you to determine whether or not you can take on that risk. Now, the other scenario is that some agencies, because we typically work with agencies that have low upfront fees when you sign on to be active in order to see situations. So that's the scenario that I just talked about. There are other agencies that when you sign up, you're paying like $18,000 to sign up with, and then however else they do their payments, but maybe the at-risk amount, maybe there is no at-risk amount. Maybe they just roll it over. So whatever the scenario, you just want to know what you're working with to determine whether or not that's a risk you're willing to take. Now, it's not just about money. You have to read the whole situation that you're presented, and you have to ask questions. There are very few scenarios where you would not have a question to ask. So you want to look at all the things, right? How close to birth is it? Or is the baby already born? Has the mom signed yet? Pre-birth or post-birth? Have they not? What about the birth father? Has he signed yet? Will DCS get involved? And what will that mean? Will it mean that if she doesn't place, the child will automatically be put in foster care? Does that mean that DCS is going to talk to her about a plan to get her baby back and try to convince her not to place? You want to know all these questions, which is another plug and another good reason why you want a consultant on your side, because we know what questions to ask and what to look at to help you mitigate that risk a little bit. Obviously, we're no magicians and we don't have a magic crystal ball. We all wish we did, but you need to ask questions to assess your whole risk and whether or not you are able and willing to take that risk on. So that's number one. Number two, I want to say about at risk and about losing. A lot of people lose $10,000 to $20,000 if it doesn't fall, if it falls through, if the adoption doesn't go through. That's a lot of money. I've seen people lose less. I've seen people lose more. An agency is typically going to do anything they can to work with you to rematch you as quickly as possible and have you pay the least amount possible for a new match, if anything at all. So you also want to know that, like what happens with the agency should you rematch with them. And if you do have a fall through, you want to look at, unless you wouldn't qualify and money isn't an issue for you, which there are those people, to sign up for a grant, to apply for a grant and see if you might be eligible when you are matched again to receive any grant money. Okay. They want to hear a good story. So to see if you really are in need of a grant. All right. That's all I'm going to say about that, unless somebody else has a question about it. Okay. So I'm going to go to the next topic, which is you are now matched. Woohoo! And you have an open adoption, or, she wants an open relationship from the beginning. Maybe she has 6 months until birth, 3 months, 4 months, whatever it is. And how should you best manage that relationship? Sometimes it's just with the expectant mama. Sometimes it's with more family members. Maybe dad's involved, maybe her mom's involved. And how much is too much, right? To talk, to Zoom, maybe to visit. Perhaps she wants you to keep visiting, or we have a situation right now where a family got matched and they want them to come in town, which they've already done to meet her, but now they want them back to meet the whole family. And they're like, should we, shouldn't we? Is it uncomfortable? Are we setting ourselves up for somebody possibly not liking us and taking, deciding to step in and parent the baby? There's so many what ifs that can go through your mind. Here is what I can tell you. Let me for you can see if you're on YouTube or Facebook. I have the question up, and I have shift in power, balance, staying guarded, staying true to yourself, right? These are all things that maybe you're thinking about. As far as the shift in power, adoption has so much shifting of power, right? When we're going through the adoption process, to us, the agency holds all of the power over us, right? Or the home study social worker. And we have more power, it depends how you look at it, over actually, that's not true. The birth family or the expectant family has a lot of power over us during that match process, right? With the threat of, well, I can just go find another family that will give me what I want. And then when you adopt, the adoptive family, the adoptive parents hold all that power, right? Are we going to follow through with our commitments and all of that? So there is definitely some of that going on. She is sitting in the power seat right now and is able to ask you for whatever she wants. And frankly, you should do whatever you can within reason to accommodate that, but always bring in her social worker or your contact at the agency to talk it through. They will guide you as best as they can, and then bring in your consultant as well. But even on top of the consultant, you want to look to your agency contact and her social worker to tell you what's reasonable, and oftentimes they might want to be there with you. So just find out what the best protocol is for that. But you should definitely try to build that relationship. The tighter the relationship, the more trust that's built. And it just sets you up for success for years and years to come. You also need to balance what you have going on personally with this whole adoption. There's a lot of money involved sometimes if you're flying back and forth. So can you meet in the middle? Can you do Zoom calls sometimes, but agree to go out one more time? So these are all things that you want to think about, but talk it through with the social worker first. Yes, we do need to stay guarded. And yet this baby and this expectant mama deserves all of you. So how do you balance that? How do you balance your excitement, but also being guarded because you're not sure what's going to happen? And this is a great space and place during your journey to be working with an adoption therapist, an adoption competent therapist, to help you work through all those feelings that you are navigating and that you are feeling. And likely you're experiencing fear, likely you're experiencing excitement. You should be. I always tell people, dance with one foot planted firmly on the ground and let that other one let loose and do a happy dance, because that's what you're doing. You're dancing, you're keeping grounded, you're excited, you're scared, you're nervous. You want to be fully open because that's what everyone deserves, including you, and yet you want to protect your heart. Stay true to yourself, but be the most open you that you can be during this entire process. And especially as it relates to matching with an expectant mom. Her experience and what she's been through and what she's going through is very different from where you're coming from. And yet you've both experienced, well, for many of you, you've both experienced losses of different types. So I hope that all makes sense. Let me see if anybody commented here. Oh, now I can hear the outside. Hey, Simone. Simone's one of our consultants. She joined us. Does anybody have any questions before we get off about anything related to adoption? I just shared a whole lot. If you joined us late, go back in the replay and start from the beginning. I am off to Canada tomorrow morning. Wish me luck with the international travel and all the mess, and hope I get there. Oh, I didn't show you my fancy nails before we get off. It is like a sparkly, look, my hand's shaking, sparkly French gold pink. It'll go with my fancy dress. That's what I'm going to leave you with. Have a wonderful weekend. And if you are also traveling, safe travels and good luck. May the force be with you. Bye.